Hey, what's up, YouTube? I'm here with Ben Jones. He got 5th place at the TCG player event. And I'm going to show you his deck list for Shaddolls.
Alright. So the main thing to remember about this deck is that I built it with the intent of testing it for regionals and YCSs. So I have a lot of cards in here that I was just testing at 1 or 2 to see which ones I liked the most. So I'll just start going through the deck. For the monster lineup, I have 1 Mathematician. This is actually kind of a throwback to what I was playing earlier. I had 3 Mathematicians in there. I was taking him out for Curry Bandits, but I decided to go with 1 Mathematician and 2 Curry Bandits because I really like the ability to make an Armades on the 2nd turn with the Mathematician and a Falco play. The 2 Curry Bandits, really good at going through your deck. During the tournament, I believe I saw them twice, and both times they got destroyed before the end phase, so it didn't work very well, but in later testing it turned out to be really good, so I'm definitely pleased with that. This is Shardifacts, so I'm playing 3 Moral Talk. No Beagle Talk in here. I think the 3 Moral Talks and 3 Sanctums is all you need. Black Luster Soldier, just only 1, but it gets you wins when you.
Are you going to try to play more than 1?
What?
You try to play more than 1?
No, I need only 1 Black Luster Soldier, no like Dark Arm Dragon or Chaos Sorcerer or something, but gets you wins where you didn't think you would have them. I went with 3 Shaddoll Falcos, partly because I think it's really good off the Curry Bandit to summon a Shaddoll Falco. The Mathematician play, yeah, so a lot of people play 2, but I like 3. 3 Hedgehogs, basically the same reason. Like, it's a searcher. If you have kind of a brick hand, you can just set a Shaddoll Hedgehog and flip it your next turn and pull a fusion. 2 Schemata, pretty standard. 2 Dragons, also pretty standard. I actually really liked those cards. That's what I'd search most off of Hedgehog was the Dragon. It enables OTKs and just puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. 2 Shaddoll Beasts, a lot of people play 3. I think it's contributes too much to brick hands, so I only played 2. Get into spells. I have Mind Control. It was essentially my only consideration of the mirror match, was maining a Mind Control, but it worked really well against Battery Man, worked against Satellar Knights. I mean, basically anything playing a light or dark, you Mind Control it and then you should all fusion it. Hand Destruction, that was a card I was testing out this tournament. Like, it got recommended to me, I thought it sounded like a great idea. I actually left the tournament store like right before the tournament started because I didn't have any. Went to a different store, bought 2, and raced back. And then during the play, it actually was really disappointing. I think I got it 6 or 7 times. It was live 1 time. Mostly just turned out being pretty horrible, so I think I'm dropping it. Then playing 2 Space Typhoons. I think honestly, if I wasn't playing the artifact build, I wouldn't play the Space Typhoons at all. I think I'd up Dragon count to 3 and then just drop the Space Typhoons. But with the artifacts, it works really well. And then 3 Shaddoll Fusions. I'm not playing any polys, not playing any super polys in the main. I thought the Shaddoll Fusions were enough. There are a few times I wish I had had a super poly, but most of the time I was pretty content just having the Shaddoll Fusion, because you can yard it with a Schemata and then send out a Shaddoll Core and get it back. Basically searchable. Then for traps, there's common Shaddoll support, 1 Core, 3 Sinister Shadow Games. Then artifacts, I already talked about the Sanctums. And then this is where I get into a lot more of my test cards. I have a lot of 1-of traps. Breakthrough Skill and Fiendish Chain, I was testing to see which one I like. Honestly, I like 1 of each. Like, that worked really well. The Attack Stopper is awesome. Fiendish Chain. The Breakthrough Skill works really well, especially against opposing artifacts, which we had a lot of today. And then works well against opposing windows. Solemn Warning, just because it's incredible. Compulse. It works really well in the mirror match. Also, particularly because if you have an extra deck monster on the field and they play a Shaddoll Fusion, you can compulse your own extra deck monster, and then at resolution their fusion doesn't have anything to send. Like, they don't have an extra deck monster, so they can't send materials from their deck. And if they don't have the right materials in their hand, you get to see it. So it works pretty well. I got to see one person's hand that way. Won that game. Torrential Tribute, pretty standard. Deep Prison, it's like another concession to the mirror match, I guess. Works really well. Like, not a lot to say about it.
Cool. And it's 40?
Yep, 40 cards total. 13 traps, 8 spells, and 19 monsters.
Okay.
So, move on to extra deck. The extra deck, playing 5, 5, and 5. My exceeds are Castell and Lavalval Chain. Mostly Castell deals with problems if you have them. Lavalval Chain really like speeds the deck up. You can use it to send Shaddoll core to the graveyard. I've done that before, send any Shaddoll card. Basically anything you want. I've used it a lot to stack a BLS. Puts a lot of pressure on your opponent. Then I have 3 rank 5s, which I honestly think is too much. Probably dropping the Pleiades. I was playing a Beagle Talk before, that's why this is in there, but honestly I never had occasion to go into it. Tyrus is incredible, especially if you make it with a Beast. His effect at the end of the turn detaches as an effect, so if you send the Beast you get to draw, as long as you didn't use Beast effect that turn. Bulbasaur is pretty self-explanatory. As for Synchros, we've got Armades. Armades turns out to be incredible in the mirror match. That was one of the main reasons I left a single Mathematician in there. Armades blows through everything. You can also activate trap cards sort of under cover of Armades. You attack with it and then start activating traps. Your opponent can't do anything about it. Goyo Guardian, mostly because he's a level 6. Honestly, I'm not super impressed with the guy right now, but biggest level 6 and it's got an interesting effect. Black Rose Dragon for level 7. Michael, Arch Lightsworn. This card's really, really, really good. You make it with a Moral Talk and a Falco. Banish any card in your opponent's field is pretty insane. Yeah, and then the mill 3 turns out to be pretty good too. So, and then Arcanite Magician just to make off of Falco and a Shaddoll Beast. Use it to pop a couple cards, and then you can Shaddoll Fusion with it if you need to, because he's a light. Then for fusions, 2 Windows, 3 Constructs, pretty self-explanatory. I thought this was a good balance. I honestly think I could drop a Construct for most matchups, but it's pretty crucial to the mirror match, so I'm keeping all 3 in.
If you were to drop it, what would you replace it for?
I'd probably put in another rank 4. I was thinking either a 101 or an Exciton. The reason I'm not playing Exciton right now is it just haven't been too impressed with it. Also, this deck is almost always plus, so it tends to be difficult to use it in anything but the mirror match, and then you just blew up a bunch of their Shaddows and they got all their effects. So, but yeah, so that's the extra deck. Let's move on to this side. So, side deck. I have 2 Majesty's Fiend. Originally I was playing the Monarch Storm 4th until I discovered that you can't use it on a card that's unaffected by card effects. So you can't tribute your opponent's Felgrand with it, which is pretty much the only reason I was playing it, or an Ophion. But anyway, these stayed in. The card's incredible. Shuts down essentially anything that relies on monster effects. Yeah, so pretty good. Maxis, I have those in there. Honestly, didn't really side into them at all. They're mostly against Sylvans and things like that. But I didn't play any Sylvans, so I didn't side them in. Playing 2 Myrmelio. I think Myrmelio is one of the best cards in the meta. It certainly was last time, or last format. I think it still is incredible. Searching traps and stuff. Yeah, usually side out some of the normal summon monsters in the main deck for those, like the Mathematicians and the Curry Bandits. Anytime I opened one of these, I won the game. Neo-Spacian Gramble. This is what I put in after I took out the Monarch Storm 4th. Obviously, it doesn't work against Felgrand particularly well, but it does get rid of Ophion quite nicely and will solve a lot of other problems like that. Works against the mirror match as well. Have one Space Typhoon in here. I saw a bunch of Dimensional Fissures. Was really glad that I had the Space Typhoon in. Otherwise, pretty self-explanatory. 2 Super Polys. Side these in against anything playing light or dark. Obviously against the mirror match. One really good time I was able to use it was against Burning Abyss. When he summoned a tour guide and I had a face down Falco. He activated the effect of tour guide, flipped Super Poly, sent my Falco his tour guide, summon a Winda, and then his one special summon was the thing he got from tour guide. So
that's pretty busted.
As for these are traps, mostly go with the Remelios. Bottomless, time space works really well against the mirror match. A couple other things too, but mostly mirror match is what I use it in. Deep Dark Trap Holes, these go in for Light Sworns. Light Sworn's not a huge concern for me, but it also works really well in the mirror. And then Trap Stun, which I've put against anything that I saw more than 3 backers on the first turn. It won me probably 4 games at least by itself. Just, you know, they use a trap, you flip the Trap Stun, and then crush them. So, yeah, anyway, that's the whole deck.
Any shout-outs?
What?
Any shout-outs?
Sure. I shout out to my team Flatline. I was the only one of us who topped, but well, only 2 of us played. And shout out to Team Black Nation.
Oh, cool.
Incredible.
All right, congrats on the top, and there's the deck profile.
Yeah.